thought I'd take a few minutes here and describe a little bit about what my new, Join the Crusade video that I posted up a few days ago is actually about. You can probably hear my computer running. I'm downloading a game right now. A while ago, I made basically an introduction video on my other channel to join the guild that I run, BloodOath, and I've ran this guild for over 10 years. It was established in 2001 on EverQuest. I got into EverQuest basically on a whim. I was sick of playing like fighting games and racing games and platformers and everything, and I wanted something different, but I didn't know exactly what. And a friend said, you should get into EverQuest. And at first I was like, that's stupid. I don't want to play MMOs, whatever. I don't understand them. I don't want anything to do with them. Basically my whole aspect was pussies play MMOs because they can't compete with regular games. How wrong I was. Clearly meant that, but I'll never forget the first day that I logged into EverQuest and made my character. Some people will laugh at me. The first thing I ever made was an erudite Shadow Knight. It was a horrible decision, trust me. I later changed it to an ogre, but I remember I got into the game and I was so confused. Everybody was running around and they were all they knew what was going on, and I remember asking a bunch of people, was like, what the fuck is going on? And nobody would answer me, and I was just infuriated. And then I took my first steps out of town, and I saw, there wasn't anybody around where I went out. I saw a bunch of ants on the ground, and I saw a bunch of things to kill and everything, and I really didn't know how to play MMOs at this point. I was getting ready to attack this black ant. I'll never forget this. And this guy ran up behind me, another erudite, and he said, hey, the text box, he's like, hey, you want to group up? I said, I don't know. I said, I really don't know what I'm doing, so I'm not going to be much help to you. And he's like, no, it's okay, man, it's okay. He's like, it's my first day too. I don't know what's going on. We should just group up and like learn together. I said, all right. So we grouped up and spent the remainder of the afternoon, about 6.5, 7 hours, in a group, questing, learning how things worked, and everything of that nature. And I remember when I logged off that day, I had initially, within my first hour of gameplay, decided that I would never pick up another MMO as long as I lived, and that was it for me. I'll just go back and play some Mario Brothers, or I'll go back and play some Sonic, or I'll go do this or that. I don't have time for this crap. But after hanging out with this guy, and I didn't even know his real name. His name was Doberman. And I didn't even know his real name, but there was this connection that I had with him. It was like I wanted to get back on. As soon as I logged off, as soon as the screen went down, I was like, man, I should get back on. See if he's on. So the next day I get on and hanging around. We figured out how to add each other to our friends lists by the end of the day. And he was on. And he was hanging around. And I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's like, oh, it's you. You're my party brother. He's like, hold on 1 second. He sent me a group invite. And the second day progressed just like the first one did. And it's like we got lost in time. You know, all the world's problems disappeared at that point. All the world's everything. Every stress and heartache and problem that I was having vanished while we were grouping up and doing our thing. The thing about it is on the second day I learned a little bit more about Doberman. And found out that he was actually a war veteran. He was in the Vietnam War. He served a couple tours. And he gave me his phone number. I said, alright, well, I'll probably never call you because I don't like talking on the phone that much. And when we logged off, I thought about it for a while and I said, you know, why not? I'll give him a call up, see what's going on, see if he's going to be on tomorrow, just talk a little bit. We ended up talking for about 3 hours that night. And I learned more about this man in those 3 hours than I've learned about most people I've known my entire life. He's a war veteran, and all he ever wanted to do was serve his country. And he wanted to be looked up at like a hero. Like, you know, I put my life on the line for you. He had a wife who passed away while he was in the war. He had 2 children that basically spit on his name. And he pretty much was forgotten by everybody. That's why he played MMOs. That's why he got into EverQuest in the first place. He was basically what you would call an outsider, which I think I'm an outsider. And I think a lot of people that play MMOs are kind of outsiders, and they just want to escape to an alternate reality. If you ask most EverQuest players, they want to actually live in Norath. They don't want to live in the world that they are chosen to live in. And it's kind of a sad reality. At the same time, you meet some of the best quality people playing MMOs. Now, when I met Doberman, his real name was Donald. I'm not going to give his last name, but it was Donald S. And he became, very quickly, he became a really close friend, and we talked on the phone a lot, and we played every day together. And I looked up to this man. I said, you know, you are a hero. You're a hero to me, and I'm sure you're a hero to a lot of people for what you did, and how you fought for, you know, our country and everything like that. And I said, you know, he was an awesome guy, you know. He was just an amazing, amazing person. We ended up getting into the same guild, and it was one of the largest raiding guilds on the server that we were on. And we were part of the dragon killing force, which in the guild at the time, it was all about killing dragons, and only the most, you know, skilled and elite players basically got to go on these dragon hunts, while everybody else in the guild was kind of forgotten. They were just there to talk about it. Donald, he said one day, he's like, you know, we got to get out of this guild. He goes, these people aren't like us. I had seen something on TV and gone through a lot of research. You know, I could run a guild. I could make a guild. I could make a difference to these people that just get forgotten in this guild. And we could do this together, you know. He was like, yeah, that's a great idea. He goes, I love it. We could, like, co-own the guild. And I said, yeah, we could do that. So we had this big plan to buy. We were gonna make the guild, and it was decided that it was gonna be called BloodOath, and that we were gonna co-run it. And We had the date set and everything when we were going to establish it. Well, I called him early in the morning. I remember it was like 5 a.m. And I called him. And I was just going to be like, are you ready, brother? Are you ready to do this? We are going to change the face of how EverQuest guilds are run. And he didn't pick up the phone. And I went online thinking maybe he's online, maybe he overslept, maybe he did this or that. I remember I got online and I started the guild up. We got a couple of the people from the old guild into it. And I remember I tried to call him. He didn't show up. It was like he got like 9 or 10, and this was really odd for him. So I kept trying to call and call and call and call. Well, days passed. Absolute days. I'm running this guild. I'm doing the best I can, you know. I'm just waiting for Donald to show up. You know, he never does. He's not calling. I call him. He's not answering. He's not getting online anymore. I said, well, maybe he's found something in life, because he didn't have a job. He didn't have anything when I met him. I got a call one night, and it was from this bratty ass kid. He's like, I found this number in my father's speed dial. He's like, who the fuck is this? I said, oh, it was this Donald's son. He said, yeah. I said, well, this is his friend from a game we played together. And I said, we just used to talk on the phone and everything. He's like, yeah, well, my dad's dead. So you just need to stop calling this number and just forget you ever met that piece of shit. That's what he told me. I remember the first thing that Donald ever said to me. He said, I've never been a hero in my life, and I'm going to be a hero in this game. That's why I did that video. That's why I redid my Join the Crusade video. It was for Donald. Because without him, I wouldn't have had the strength to create my guild, BloodOath. And without him, I wouldn't have had the want or the need really to go ahead with it. I wouldn't have even been in MMOs after that first day if it wasn't for Doberman. He's a man who spent his entire life thinking that he was worth shit. Everybody looked down on him, that he was worse than the dirt that they stepped on. But to me, that man was a hero. To me, that man meant something. I would consider him a friend until the day they put me in the ground, just like they did him. And honestly, it's the reason why every guild incarnation that I run of BloodOath, which this will be the 5th time that I've reincarnated this guild, why I learn everybody's name. I don't go off of moniker. I don't go off of, I've got a hand, let's see, we've got 30 some odd people in this version of BloodOath. I know every one of them. I know their first names. Do I use them? Not really. But I know them. I know every one of these people by their first name. That's the way I run my guilds. And when I put that title on that video, it means that I'm going to play Guild Wars 2 to honor my friend. And I will achieve something greater than I've ever achieved in any MMO. And I'm going to do it for him. And I hope that if there is such a thing as heaven and hell, I hope that he's up there, that he's safe, and he's watching down with a big smile on his face, because he changed my life. And I hope in some way that I changed his. So that's the meaning behind the new video, because a couple people have asked and said, well, what's with the whole semblance in the beginning of it? It's for him.